Hey guys, it's Jody and David. And hey, this is the another weekly meeting of a group of people that we call the Whiskey Rebellion Barcast, and we're here to have a lot of fun tonight. And it's Black History Month, so we're going to try to keep that going. But if you've been following our show, that generally lasts about 5 to 10 minutes, and then all kinds of other random shenanigans occurs, and which is okay because we're going to pick on people tonight because. And if you get the chance to go to David Papayan's webpage, just post some random stuff on there. He's in Facebook jail, and he tried to appeal it, and he couldn't even fact check it to get himself out of it. So just put some random nonsense on there, maybe a cartoon.
I never should have said anything,
or whatever. But hey, guys, welcome to the show. Happy birthday to Mao, and also my father's heavenly birthday today.
Happy birthday, guys! Cheers.
Happy birthday, Mao. Happy birthday, Jody's dad.
His name's Joe. Hey, we'll start there. I am having. In his honor, like I told you, he was a Jack Daniels and a Crown guy, and I just figure, honestly, I thought about that a lot today, and I want to tell you, this is actually a Black History moment of the contributions in my life personally. So I was thinking about my father earlier, and I was thinking, I wonder why he always drank crappy bourbon or liquor or whiskey, whatever you want to call that other stuff, And I sat there and I was thinking about it, and I was like, maybe he just, before he actually had money, that's all he could afford. He developed a palate for it, and that's what he wanted to go with. From that point on, never thought to explore or anything like that. I don't know, but I have always said that, hey, if my pops was around today, we'd be having some good stuff. So that's the reason why I'm having Rock Hill Farms tonight, which is a solid bourbon, one of my top fives, and then I think we're going to move to some Old Granddad, 114 here shortly. You don't have to show it because I can put the little.
Oh yeah, you'll do the little.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah. So we're still
got new technology. He's ahead of me.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Every day we're learning something new. But anyway, so let me tell you a funny story my dad used to tell me. So my dad was born in South Carolina, Charleston, South Carolina. Anybody that's ever been to Charleston, South Carolina? He was brought up in the projects. It's the demographics there are a lot of African American or Black people that live in that area specifically, right? And when he joined the military, became a Ranger, and went to Vietnam, he had a lieutenant. His name was Lieutenant White, and the way my dad described him was he was about a 6'4", black man. And he just knew that my dad was Southern and automatically assumed that he didn't like Black folks. And so anyway, so my dad was like, I don't understand this. He tried to explain it to him, but there was that moment where nobody could actually see the other side, and they had to have a physical altercation. And at the end of the day, they decided that they were going to become best buds, and they did. And it happened forever. And so I think that might be the reason why I have never really recognized color or anything like that. I wasn't raised that way. But so I would look at that as a contribution to my own personal development in the month of Black History Month, as one of the members of this show. So I think that was a fantastic story, definitely for my dad on his birthday.
Well,
so
there you go.
Rob, what are you drinking? What's so shitty? Have it.
Oh, well, Old Shitty, I brought me some of this Booker's from 2017. So it's, 128.1.
How is
really
that?
Tasty. It's very tasty. A friend of mine gave it to me as a gift a few years back for helping her out. I helped her do a catering. So shout out to my friend Kim Smith. Her and her husband went out and said, "Hey, you like bourbon, don't you?" I'm like, "Yeah." That's what they bought me. Because I refused to take money from her to help her out. Like, I'm bored. I'm not doing anything. You need some help doing this little catering you got. I'll stand there and carve some tenderloin for a Christmas party. I'm okay with that. So she paid me in bourbon. Probably at the time it was.
And a good
Sounds
bourbon.
like a good exchange. Yeah.
And it's a good bourbon. It's not
Yeah.
like you got Jack Daniels or something.
I was like, I heard you like bourbon.
Yeah.
Sorry, I know it's like a running theme on this show that we just trash on Jack Daniels.
It's not we, it's just me mostly.
Yeah.
Except for you won't try Uncle Nearest either for the same reasons I'm having a
I
hard time.
would
with.
have. Okay, I almost bought a bottle of Uncle Nearest to
We
bring
should
it
have
over
went in
here.
together. That way, if we don't like it, we only spent half.
True. We didn't do that. We could have, but I was like, oh, I'm gonna pick up this bottle of Uncle Nearest. We can have it on the show tonight. Sorry, I hit the mic. And I was like, but it's supposed to be like kind of, the guy that helped work on Jack Daniel's distillery back in the day, this and that. So like,
Yeah,
the
but the
flavor
it's
profile
not Jack Daniels.
probably going to be
profile.
similar, which means this guy's going to hate it. So I'm going to buy this
True
bottle,
story.
and he's going to like turn his nose up at it, and I
Probably.
don't really want that. So I passed on it tonight. I did, in favor of the old granddad, the 114, which is not an expensive whiskey and it's spoken very highly of. I am here trying it. For $30, pretty decent. It's very different. I just had some Rock Hill Farm, so it's like worlds apart, kind of flavor profile wise. But like it's got like a sweet corn thing going on with it. Pretty tasty. Not mad at it at all. Especially at that price
Not
point.
mad.
Yeah, I mean, if you
You're
spend
not
$50
you're
on a
not
bottle,
selling it to me very well though.
you can't drink that and be like, "Oh, this is fantastic." It's just not going to happen. But like, for what it is, it's pretty good. You have to know where you're at, right?
But
You
you know
go
what's
to a dive
interesting?
bar and be like, where's your finest, Like,
Well, I'm
it's
not gonna be at a
happen.
dive bar anyhow. Billy, you're getting ready to say something. What's up?
Yeah, I was. David mentioned that it was $30. David, you know what else you can get for $30?
Hmm.
3 bottles of Cafe 305 barbecue sauce.
I mean,
But
Nice.
maybe it's my system, but I've yet to see an order come through with your name on it.
that's
Oh.
you know what? Oh, I'm
Shots
called
fired.
out. You know what? And that's appropriate.
Shots fired.
I
Hold on
mean,
a second, hold on a
Tell
second.
me your
Hey, real quick,
DM
guys.
me
Black
after the
History
show.
Month.
I
Go ahead.
got to do some policing real fast. Mark, I don't want to get Facebook banned or Facebook jail. So don't do the gun signal because the fact checkers may come out there and say, well, he obviously was making a gun sign at one of the people here and that'd be
It's gonna
bullying.
be. I'm gonna
That
be
was a,
blamed
that
for
was
it
a
too.
whiskey
Watch.
symbol. That's
I'm
a
with you. I'm with you.
that's a whiskey symbol.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Billy, after the show, DM me your Venmo, and
I've got it
I
right here.
But okay, but I
I
don't.
actually buy from him all the time.
I understand that. I'm trying to remedy the situation because I've been meaning to. And it's
No,
just
you-
one of these. No, I really have, but it's been one of these things that's gotten away from me.
You
Yeah.
just eat processed food out of in a frozen bag all the time is what it is. By the way, barbecue sauce is still good on that too.
Absolutely.
What do you think you need the barbecue sauce for? Is to make it palatable.
Anyway, Billy, what are you drinking on tonight?
Well, what I'm drinking on tonight, I'm going to go ahead and kill this
I knew he was going to say that.
Breckenridge.
Nice.
That's
Put the
what I'm doing.
105?
I'm doing bottle kills. Hopefully Facebook doesn't take offense to me killing bottles, and they felt like bottles got hurt in this process. But I like the Breckenridge. It's really smooth. It's easy on the pockets, and it's definitely something that you could take to an event or a party. It's actually a good everyday pour, as a matter of fact. So I like the Breckenridge a lot.
Cool deal. Cool deal. Hey, how old is the Breckenridge? Is it a 3-year younger whiskey?
Let's see if it has a statement on it. I will probably have to look it up, but this does not have an age statement on it as of current.
Are they calling it a straight bourbon?
Bourbon
Or just a whiskey?
It's only 43%, so it's not all that, or 86 proof, but but yeah,
If
it
they
does
call
not
it a
have
straight bourbon, it has to
No.
be aged at least 4 years.
No, it just says bourbon whiskey. It does not say straight.
Right.
So
Hey, John. What are we doing there, Tom Cruise?
So I'm sipping on Restoration Rye. This is the one I pinged everybody about last week. But was able to stumble across a bottle in a nearby town. Picked it up, but what I learned is that there's 2 batches. This is batch number 1, sitting at 103 proof. So I was kind of eager to try this one. I learned about Castle and Key Distillery from the documentary Neat.
Yep.
And so it's one that I followed, and I kind of had on my radar. I'm like, all right, well, whenever they start producing bottles, snag one. And so when I learned that this had come out, wanted to go grab one. So this is actually a surprising.
That's Castle and Key as well, right there. If you
Don't
never
say,
had it.
don't say behind Pinhook.
Mm.
Yeah. And actually, I've got their 4-year as well, and it's I like it. It's pretty solid.
Yeah. So this one, man, it's really surprising because the youngest barrel that they had out of these picks was 3 years and 5 months, and most of them are ranging in between 3 years and 5 months on up to 3 years and 10 months. So a little shy of 4 years. But this one is surprising. I was kind of anticipating kind of that young, whiskey taste on the front end. But on the back end, I was like, man, this thing's got some experience on it. So I ended up doing another sip and another sip. And it's really, really good. You almost pull something different with each sip. You get some of that young corn on the front end, but then there's this lingering spice on the back end. And so it's really, really good. I'm kind of eager to try the batch number 2. It is a little bit lower proof, but just to kind of compare it side by side.
Super cool, man. Super cool. And welcome to the show again. Mark, what you got going on? I know that whatever this is it almost over? I'm with you.
No, Creek, this is a bottle pour.
I mean, a bottle kill.
I killed
kill.
it.
One pour.
I killed it.
Oh, we're gonna get
So
sucked.
I did not get those bottles yet because I was rushing to get back here. But I'll be heading back out.
It's early out there on the West Coast.
Because you're in San Francisco tonight, right?
Yeah, I'm in San Fran. I picked up a bottle of Eagle Rare at Safeway for $29, which is not bad.
Nice.
That's about what it is here in PA.
Yeah, not bad at all.
Yeah,
Didn't need it, but
here in Miami,
that's one. If you see it, you get it. Say it again.
It's 36 here in Miami.
Okay. Yeah, I figured, when I see it at that price, I grab it.
You got to grab it.
Yeah,
Yep.
Absolutely, you do. All right. Well, we had some topics that were brought up, and I am going to let John, our youngest member or newest member of our group, I'm going to let him introduce our topic for the evening, because after a little bit of discussion, I think that was the best way to answer both Billy and I's question that we had, and how to move forward and having a conversation that is, relevant to today, to be really honest with you, and see where it goes. Now, with that being said, we do want to say that we want to always maintain that our show is non-political, and to be perfectly honest with you, the 5 people on here right now, you wouldn't think we're all best friends if you just read our Facebook feeds, and we are actually all best friends. So with that being said, twice in less than 30 seconds, John, go ahead.
So the topic of discussion that we brought up tonight, building off of what Billy had suggested, was really looking at bourbon or whiskey as being the vehicle that brings people together. And so in the midst of chaos, whether it's between political parties or other groups here within America, or war and conflict that's overseas, the question for the group is, can whiskey or bourbon be that something that brings opposing sides together to find some sort of common ground? So that's kind of the question that was proposed and just kind of built upon. And so I actually liked Billy's question. Billy, what are your thoughts?
Well, I definitely think bourbon whiskey can definitely bring different cultures together. And I think the bourbon in itself, or the enjoyment of the adult beverage, is something that brings us to the table and gives us the ability to really not talk, but listen to the other person's side and see what they have to say. And I think once we can just take a second, close our mouths, open our ears, we can probably get a lot done. And really, I enjoy it because I think we immediately see past color, and we go into character of the individual and see what their thoughts are, their, what makes them tick. So I definitely think it's something that can do, it can definitely bring us to the table. And it's something that I enjoy because since I've been into bourbons and whiskeys and even cigars, I've had conversations with people who are probably on the other end of the spectrum when it comes to certain beliefs or views and things of that nature. But because it's a common ground, a common element, we can sit down and actually have the discussion.
Yeah, so I agree, Billy. It's I think that's part of conflict management that people teach in grad schools, and businesses pay a bunch of money for having executives and other leaders go through a course on how to deal with conflict. And one of the biggest things is just finding some common ground between whether it's a leader to a subordinate or just two coworkers. It's finding the common ground. And I don't know how true it is, but we've seen a lot of movies where they indicate in the story that in this country you're supposed to discuss 10 to 15 minutes of personal conversation or small talk before business is conducted. And if we were able to do that between two opposing forces, I think we could get a long ways with resolving some conflicts internally. And I think the way to do that is let's all sit down and have a drink.
So what you said was you were actually plugging us as to be change agents or change management strategy tool that organizations could actually utilize by just employing the Whiskey Rebellion Barcast and having us come and have people to sit around and drink and exploit all of their inner thoughts. And at the end of the day, will be two things. One, we'll find out who HR needs to keep an eye on. And then two, much closer as secrets will be revealed.
Yeah,
Probably all of us. But
Oh, this group would all be
Yeah,
HR.
yeah, for
complaint,
real.
the entirety of this group.
I've been in front of HR multiple times in the last 20 years.
You don't
I
say.
ain't worried about them.
You really don't say.
I want to hear those stories, honestly. I really
Yeah.
do.
I absolutely I believe that. It's just
Yeah.
like Jay
On
telling us he
both
has a cat and
sides.
hat tattoo on his back the other day. I was like, I believe that too. I really do.
Ridiculous.
So to follow up with kind of what Billy said, I spend over the last 20 years an inordinate amount of time, especially on weekends, sitting in cigar shops and hanging out with people of different backgrounds, different political beliefs, different ideals, and definitely with cigars. And I have not seen it so much with bourbon prior to me really getting into the bourbon community thing, just because most of what I was doing with bourbon was sitting in a bar and you just get some drunk fools at the bar who act a fool all the time. So, and it really doesn't matter what background you come from. You get drunk, you act a fool. You get drunk, you act a fool. But with the cigar shop guys, I mean, we had guys hardcore right, hardcore left, in the middle. When it comes to, we can sit down, we can have an open conversation without getting personal on each other, smoking our cigars, chilling, relaxing. From there in the morning, we're having a coffee, we're having a donut, we're talking it out, talking things out. Why do you think this way? What makes you think that? Well, why do you think that? Well, and we just go back and forth, and we're able to have just great conversations with each other about those things. It's pretty awesome.
Oh, I think if you want to look at a personal aspect, I give David grief all the time about him not being my friend, which is true. However, he did get me these nice glasses for my birthday, and they are really nice. He's still not a friend, but anyhow, and I had him drink out of them too, just in case they were laced with cyanide or anything. Anyway,
Watch that lead.
Yeah, it's not lead crystal. Yeah.
Anyway, but no, on a real note, so David and I, some of you guys know this story already, but some of the people who may be new to following the show, I give him grief all the time because that is how we started out. We were not friends. We were actually in a Facebook battle on some stupid page. I think it was called Spring Hill I Heart or something, or I Heart Spring Hill.
Whichever one.
It was stupid, and it was the most asinine argument that two grown men could ever have. And then it's all of a sudden I'm like, hey, you want to meet up? And he's like, yeah, let's do it. Parking lot. I'm like,
I didn't say parking lot. We were gonna go to Logan's.
all right, yeah, we were gonna go. But I was like, let's get together and
Eat
have a beer.
peanuts, all right.
Let's have a beer or something, and let's have a chat. So that didn't work out because of personal issues. During the time that he and I met, my wife and I lost our child. So we had to take a couple weeks off and all that. And then, so I reached back out to him because by that point we had already switched phone numbers, or we were still chatting via DMs. I don't know. That's not really relevant. So anyway, first time he shows up over at my house, I kind of let
James at the same time.
No, James was already here.
Well, you know what I mean.
But anyway,
yeah,
but you had never met James either.
correct.
And so which one of us was the worst relationship?
I guess pretty obvious at this point. But,
But anyway, so anyway, he came over here and there was tension initially. All right. But the first thing I did was I said, hey, you want to have a drink? And we had a drink here at the bar. And we've been having drinks at this bar for well over 5 years now, often. And when I say often, I mean, there was times when I was deployed during that time too, but and so he wasn't having drinks here at the bar, at least I don't think so. But anyway, so,
Samara said, help yourself. I mean, I don't know.
yeah,
What,
sure thing.
Oh,
But anyway,
who might have denied that?
But anyway, so but no, we that's how we got through. Like he and I politically could not be more opposite. I say that though, and actually, he and I, if we would, and I've said this 1,000 times, if he and I were in Congress or in the Senate, could work together to actually do things for people, because we have this thing called mutual respect for each other, and we actually listen to one another and say, okay, well, though I disagree with you, this is what I think, and he may follow up saying, though I disagree with you, we can get to the source of what our true objective is, and also our true objection, and come to some type of common ground. Now, I will clearly say that relationship was based on us getting together and having a drink. So, like John had said in the VIP chat, which if you're not part of, you want to be a part of. The cool thing about bourbon or whiskey or even spirits in general was even during World War I, when they stopped for Christmas, they broke out whatever the finest drink they had, which might have been trench, whiskey that was made, or as I don't know how many people has been over to Iraq, but some of the I don't know how to say this correctly, so I won't. I'll just say some of the homemade some of the homemade whiskey that was made there. It's called TCNs, but
what's TCN stand for?
Third Country Nationals, and they make their own hooch, and they'll sell it, and I'm sure it gives you cancer on contact.
Life finds a way.
But since you're in a country that it's supposed to be completely dry and you have to sign all these agreements, page 13s, which I never tried anything.
Ever.
Just want to make sure we're clear on that, because I'm still within UCMJ. But anyway, so from other people's perspective, I heard it had to give you cancer on the first time it touched your lip. But anyway, so I do think that it brings in those relationships, because even I learned so much about many of the TCNs by watching other people drink with them and hanging out with them, and learning about their culture and who they were and where they were from and stuff like that. Just like our forefathers had heard in World War II that the Germans, when they were in the trenches in World War I, that they weren't much different from one another. They were fighting an ideology that at the time probably none of the troops supported on either side, but they could have common ground to celebrate Christmas and have some type of trench drink probably together. Hey, Mal, how are you doing, brother? Happy birthday.
Very well.
Happy birthday,
I guess that was
Happy
yesterday
birthday,
for you
boy.
at this point, but still happy birthday. Happy belated. How about that?
It's not belated where you guys are, so I appreciate that.
There
And
you go.
I appreciate all the messages and everything. Awesome.
Hey, who was the first one that said it in this group?
Well, look, I would have posted on your page, but I was sucked.
How are you still able to get
Got
the
the
messenger?
van.
I can still use Messenger. Facebook and Facebook Messenger are two separate.
So you're not banned from
Engine.
Messenger.
No, I'm not.
How did Annie not get banned from Messenger?
I don't know. It's a great question. Hey, I was gonna, if I could riff off of basically what Jody and John said, just briefly, and again, not to delve into politics or things like that. There's a thing about getting together with people and getting to know them as human beings first. Knowing, their interests, we can talk about a common interest. We're all here. We all like bourbon, whiskey, spirits, whatever. Like whatever that happens to be. Have a beer. Enjoy whatever other interests that may come first or be valued more importantly, rather than looking at each other through a prism of what our political, religious, social differences are. And that's what just about everybody's getting wrong right now. It's one of the things that I really like about what we're doing here is we're just getting to know each other as people, because, I've interacted and I've seen y'all's Facebook profiles and things like that. And I've seen things that, like, if I didn't know you before that, like, I may have objections. I may want to argue. I might want to this. But I go, no, just let it alone. No, I wasn't talking about you, actually. I really wasn't talking about you, actually, because I already know in your case. But like in general, like something I might find objectionable.
That's how you guys.
Let it go. It doesn't matter that much. He's a good guy.
What's that, Mal?
Yeah, we met through fighting on the internet.
Yeah.
Yes.
Two keyboard warriors right here.
Basically, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And we got over it. But we're the exception.
But for the record, I'm the bigger one.
Jesus.
The bigger keyboard warrior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Give it to him.
I'm like the gorilla behind the keyboard. He's like the little mouse.
Wow. So Mark, tell us what you think about it.
Actually, he's exactly what you would expect behind a keyboard warrior.
I'm the guy who shows up, which is not what you expect behind a keyboard warrior.
I invited you to my house. I gave you my address.
Yeah, but you're not the only one. I'm just saying.
Oh,
I'm the guy who always shows up.
I know. Remember, I've seen this. You sent me
We
that.
did too.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah,
Anyway, let's let
speak.
it go. Move on.
These
guys.
two are
Let's go.
funny. So, excuse me, I'm sorry. I agree. Definitely you sit and have a drink. I don't know if I told you guys really quickly. This was really way back before I was kind of really drinking bourbon. Way before bourbon. My military days. I had a guy, big Texas boy from
Texas?
town where they took the guy, tied him up by his chain, tied him to the back of an F-150 and drug him down the street.
Oh, my
yeah,
gosh.
I remember that. That happened in Texas. Yeah, I remember
He's
that.
from there. And he kept getting in arguments on the ship with black guys about everything. Anyone in the Navy knows this. In general, it's not across the board, but in general, there's this thing: the black guys like the ships warm, white guys like it cooler. I'm kind of more in touch with the white side of me. I like it cooler, but anyway. So he got in arguments every single day, and finally, what word came out? He said it. And so now he and I had conversations before. So I said, dude, what's up with you, man? I was like, you never said it to me. No, but you're different. I actually know I'm not different, which I hear that a lot. You're different.
Mm-hmm.
I hear that a lot now because I'm a 2A advocate, and yes, I like my guns and I like my bourbon. But so I'm kind of a weird hybrid there with stuff. But anyway, so I said, let's go out, man. We go out. We went and had us some drinks, and hey, Jody, cover your ears. It was Jack. So we sat and had a
So you didn't have a
whole lot
drink?
of
You don't
Jack.
like this guy?
We had a whole lot of
So at the end of the day, the end of the story is everybody's racist. I got it.
No, he was. I mean, we sat. And
Mark,
talked.
you see what I have to put up with?
Dave, I got you, brother. I got you, David. But it was interesting because one of the things that I learned about him was he really didn't have any experience with black people until he got into boot camp, till the Navy. The black guys teased him because he was a big guy. He was really big. I mean, he shouldn't pass the boot camp. That's another topic. But how he made it to a damn ship, I don't know, because he couldn't fit. But again, that's another topic. But so we sat and talked, and one of the things he told me was like,
hold on a second.
Let him tell
Hold
the
on a second.
story.
I want to ask you a real quick question. You brought up a very interesting part about ships and how he shouldn't have made it through the Navy, and then should have made it to a ship being in the Navy. How many black folks can swim?
In my case, I would say about maybe 30% of who
So
I
it's a
know.
fair, it's a fair assessment that I made.
It is, but there's a reason for that. We can get back to that.
Okay, we
And
will.
I'll tell you why that's actually a great topic, but there's a reason for that.
Well, it's body fat. It's the reason why you guys have less body fat. No, I'm serious. That's God's on truth. I swear to everything. That is true.
No, I'll give you the real reason in a few. So one of the things that we sat and talked
Yeah, I was
about
giving
over
you a
Jack
scientific
was
reason.
his grandfather, his uncles, and his much older brothers. The N-word would fly around our house like it was nothing. Great grandfather was Texas Klan. His grandfather was Texas Klan. I want to say this is Brown, Texas, but I could be wrong. So anyone in Brown, don't get pissed at me. I could be wrong. But so his family has a history of KKK presence, major presence. So everyone in his house threw out the N-word like it was nothing. His family stayed on this side of the tracks. All the blacks stayed on that side of the tracks. And never the twain shall meet. So, we sat and talked about it. I was like, okay, well, tell me what you think about me. And we talked about it. It was cool after that. We were buddies for a while. I lost contact over the years, but a good conversation over some heavy Jack, a couple young guys. Hey, I can tell you at least one race has changed, at least for a little while. So.
That's what you said is a true thing. Definitely with a lot of probably our generation, not so much his. I'm talking about you and I, because we're probably within the same age group.
Yeah.
I had a great aunt who I admire as a person, and she's one of the most influential people I know in my life. And I already told you guys starting the show that I was not raised to see color because my father's one of his best friends was his lieutenant when he was in Nam on a Ranger team. All right. So who was a black man. All right. Lieutenant White. Anyway, which I always thought was funny as hell. And so did he. But when I brought it to his attention, he didn't find it as funny. I'm like, you don't see the irony in that? Because I see the irony. But anyway, but my great aunt, who I love, and I will never talk badly about, her generation did not look at, she was born in 1910, I think. All right. So she was back there in the day. And she also threw the N-word out like it was anything. But what's funny is some of her closest friends in the nursing home and stuff, or not nursing home, but like she lived in an elderly village type thing, and
like an assisted living kind of thing.
Wasn't an assisted living. It was more like a
sheltered accommodation.
Yeah, essentially, it was like an apartment for older people to be in.
Okay.
That's what my mom's in. So.
Yeah, and so some of her closest friends were black. All right, and they would be. I'd see them every day, and she would have no problem in the world saying N-word in front of them. And I was like, I remember sitting there sometimes when she was watching her stories with them, because that's when they would come over. They would be watching their stories together, and I was little.
Soap operas.
Yeah, stories. That's what they call it.
Watching my story. That's my grandmother.
Yeah, we like stories.
Stories.
We know.
So
stories.
they were watching their stories together.
Like Santa and Hourglass.
Yeah,
Anyway.
that was one of hers. Days of Our Life. I think that's the one it is. But anyway,
Yes.
so she would be sitting there and she would say something like say there was they brought a black woman on there, and she would say the N-word, like, can you believe that they just brought this? And I'd be like,
whoa.
like, I was pre-12, so even at that point in my life, I was going, do you realize my father's best friend
Right.
is like black. Like,
he's not like a little bit black. Like he's all the way to black.
yeah.
He's purple.
Well, I wouldn't say purple because I don't judge colors like you guys do, but he was dark. All right. And I don't know y'all's.
I'm dying, Mark. Y'all, I'm dying over here.
I don't know how you guys measure, but anyway, so
This will be our last show.
this will never be aired because it'll get zucked when I push post.
Oh my God.
But anyway, but no, it's to tie it back into your story with your friend. One of my best friends in the entire world was this guy named KD, and he was from Compton, California, and he was a flight engineer on one of our birds. Big old boy. And me and him were like two peas in a pod. We were always hanging out. And the reason why we were because we were the only ones that were single, and we're always looking to go find the place where there was other single people of the opposite sex. And then on top of that, whenever we were in a different country, I wanted the biggest person on earth to be with me. It was like having Andre the Giant with me all the time. I was like his little chihuahua, just hanging out with him. And it was truly like that. And I wish I could find him because he was one of those friends that was pre Facebook that I wish we were still friends. Like, I wish I knew how to reach out to him now. But yeah. So anyway, you gonna tell us how come Black folks can't swim?
Okay, so the reason why, it goes back to Jim Crow segregation. So there was a point, even so everybody knows, oh, the South was bad. But don't think that there was not discrimination in the North. So blacks couldn't go swimming in beaches. We couldn't go swimming in most beaches from Halifax, Canada to Miami. From Miami to El Paso, and from Tijuana, Mexico, well, San Diego, up to where I am now. You wouldn't want to go to a beach in Seattle, but and everywhere in the middle. It could be Chicago, even in cities like Chicago where there was no there was no slavery, but you still had segregation. Mm-hmm. So if blacks try to go to certain public pools, they couldn't go. The Irish would kick us out of pools big time. New York City, the Irish would kick us out of pools in Boston. The Polish would kick us out of pools in Chicago. And it was like that all over the country. So my generation, and those who know, I was born in excuse me. In theory, as a kid, when we did go to certain pools in certain parts of town, if you didn't live in an all black area or an urban area, if you got in a pool, everyone else got out the pool. And when everyone else got out of the pool would suddenly have to shut down for cleaning or whatever reason. Mm-hmm. So that's why we in general don't swim. So we didn't really get access to water until the 70s, to be really honest. Now, yes, we can always find a couple exceptions. There are exceptions, but in general, in every major city, every beach town in the United States, we were not welcome.
Well, at my pool, you guys are always welcome.
And believe it or not,
thank you, sir.
I can't remember the year, but Sammy Davis Jr. was performing at a hotel in Vegas way back in the day. He went in the pool, and when he got out, they literally emptied the entire pool and refilled it.
And the only reason he got it is because Sinatra made them let him in. Yeah.
And, it's true what Mark says, oh, you're different. So I'm a part of a Jeep club, and the Jeep club is about 125 strong. Everybody's active. And out of 125 people, there's only 3 black guys in it, and I'm one of them. So, yeah, I've gotten that, oh, you're different. Or I've gotten it where I've spoken to somebody on the phone, and we meet up, and they were like, I thought you were white.
Yeah.
So Billy, I think one of the things that, you're different. I think, and I'm still young, but I have a very unique military background where, we trained, amongst a diverse group. All military folks, go to boot camp with people from all over the country, different backgrounds, races, just everything. And you're required to learn next to them, train next to them, and perform your duty next to them. And with the theory of you guys going to combat, and when the bullets are flying and shit's going chaotic, the last thing on your mind is what color Mark is right next to me. Because when bullets are flying, I want Mark returning fire so I can sprint ahead, so I can return fire for him, so we can knock out this bunker or whatever. And so I think military folks have a very unique perspective on it. And I think getting back to that, what makes you different is the fact that during our military experience with working with different cultures and people from all different backgrounds, is that we took the time to get to know them as a person, whether they are a black man who wears FUBU and Echo, and who might portray, every um,
Stereotype.
stereotype of a black man, or they're in skinny jeans and a Ralph Lauren polo. It's, you get to know them as a person, and I think that's what, from a white person's perspective, is that's what makes them different. And so everybody can get to that point. It's just everybody has to take the time to get to know the person, or get to know the situation that they're currently in the midst of the conflict that you're trying to resolve. And bourbon can be that vehicle, but it's really, at the end of the day, it's those two individuals to be mature and to, take a step back, listen, and then speak to the situation at hand.
Do you know that is an actual course that's taught at the doctorate level in your third year called Crucial Conversations? And it's something that I honestly think that every business in America, every organization in America, and every school system in America, public or private or charter or whatever, homeschool, all of them ought to have, is how to have crucial conversations, how to be able to have those conversations. That might be what's that?
Worldwide, dude.
Yeah. And how to have conversations that honestly we just did a lesson on right here. You should be able to have those conversations that you can say with Cantor of being able to say, hey, look, how come black folks can't swim? And here, I mean, I'm being serious. That is a true story. You should be able to say that and be able to ask those questions and have those follow-ups, or to have a story like where you're in a Jeep club and there's 125 strong, everyone's active, and you have 3 black people and they say, well, you're a little bit different. And you're like, well, how, have those conversations, have that articulation of being able to say, hey, you know what, this is what I see. Well, then maybe what you've seen was not who we are or who I am.
Right.
And
Correct. And
go ahead.
Sorry to cut you off, but and I'm sure Mark has experienced this, but I think sometimes the most harsh racism that I've experienced has been from my own community. Where they feel like, oh, you're uppity black, or you're this, or you're that, or you feel like you're better than everybody else. And it's like the conversation we had the other night off air. Listen, I really don't care what somebody else thinks about me. That's not what's going to make or break me. That doesn't affect my finances. But it is something that I'm sure Mark has experienced. I've experienced, and even to this day, I still experience it. Or you think you're better than the rest of us, and this, that, and I'm like, no, I don't think because I don't think of you that way. But if you want to feel that I'm that way, then you're entitled to your feelings, and that's perfectly fine. But it is something that does happen, and in some cases, as a black person, a lot of the pressures that I feel come from the black community.
It's all about perception, and it works. And it works multiple ways, not just both ways,
absolutely.
not just 2 ways, multiple ways. It's all about perception.
I caught a little bit of hell, not from close friends, but some of the extended friends, and some extended, let's say associates, when I went to the military. Because people like, you're going in the military? What about your trumpet, or what about your horn? Long story why I was mad at the world, but anyway, excuse me. But
I hate you, Mal.
I had a lot of people.
Wait, Mal, what was it? I'm sorry to interrupt.
It's one of my birthdays.
Is it the bomb
Damn
burgers?
it.
Oh man, yeah, fantastic.
Sorry, Mark.
Bombers.
Sorry, go on.
Sorry, I just had to chime in with that. Sorry, go ahead. Back to the story, please.
Sorry, Mark. Go on.
I need a pour of that. I'm empty. I need a pour. I'm pouring benchmark right now. I'm mad at you right now.
The virtual pour. Pouring into his
Thank you,
own
brother. I
glass.
appreciate you, man.
I feel blessed with it.
But yeah, I caught a little bit of hell from
I know you do.
extended folks about going into the military. I mean, it changed later, but I think at that time, so when I went into the military, I was at the tail end of Reagan. And Reagan devastated the black communities in the nation. That's another conversation. And anything that, and at the time, Oliver North was was top story. And here I come talking about I'm going in the military. They were like, what? Oh, I caught major hell from folks. Except close friends and family, because I actually have a lot of I got a lot of military in my family going back to keep me going back to World War One. My granddad was in the one of my grandfathers was in the Navy as well. So, but yeah, Billy, I know what you mean. I've definitely caught some of it. I would say overall not too bad. Just as a person, I've had the benefit of watch your mouth with me.
Yeah.
Just because, I can get a little crazy at times. And so.
Hi.
Oh, hey.
Hello.
But yeah, Billy, I've definitely seen that. And
this is my youngest daughter, Maya. She's just come up for
hey,
a
youngest daughter,
midnight.
Maya, how are you?
Hello,
Look at
Maya.
her.
These are your
so
American
embarrassed.
uncles.
The rest
She's
of
so
them are
embarrassed.
Fine.
Oh yeah. Right, get to bed because it's really late.
Okay,
I've
so
got school
now we
tomorrow.
know.
Like I've got school.
Okay,
I've got
so
work as well. So
we know now that the kids get their looks from their mother.
Absolutely.
We know that.
Dude,
it is officially confirmed.
And I will drink to that.
Shots fired. Bourbon shots fired.
Pew pew.
Gentlemen.
And I will say this before we dive into the bourbon of the evening. I do not accept racism from anybody, whether black, white, whatever. My best friend, God bless him, he passed away some years ago. White guy. And, when I tell you he knows things about me that my own family don't know. And, it was crazy because growing up in the time where, we was in high school and pardon my French, but they had this thing that was called Cracker Day. And what they would do is they would beat up the white kids, the black kids.
I've heard about that kind of thing, though. Oh, I've heard about that. I didn't know their name. Okay.
And I'll never forget it. One day
did you
this
just
day
do it
came
because
around.
you wanted to, like a freelancer there, Mark?
But
no, we didn't do that.
He's
No, my school, we didn't. I think we may have had one, maybe two white kids, maybe.
Yeah.
And they were always, their family.
Yeah,
So
and
you don't touch them.
It was this thing where he was like, "Man, I'm not going to school today because of this." I'm like, "Listen, we going to school today, but we both gonna get into some fights." And I said, "Just do me a favor. Whatever happens, don't run. Just hit somebody. That's it.
Yeah, that's all you got to do.
Just hit somebody." And literally, I think we probably got into 7-8 fights that day. But listen,
damn,
we won every last one of them. It was probably one of my proudest days of the year.
never ever start a fight, but always finish one. So
Always,
something my dad's always said to me. Yeah. So
and he was like, "Man, you really want to go through this?" I like, listen, I don't care what color you are. You're my dog. So if we gonna fight, we fight together, plain and simple.
So now, Billy, Billy and Jody, I got one for you here. Now, here's the flip side of everything we just talked about. So a lot of times so this kind of is actually the flip of you don't count. So I've had the pleasure of having a lot of friends and associates and coworkers that are white, that they don't really give a damn what you look like, whatever. The problem is sometimes you have to remember that. So as an example, I'm on a project and I'm working in Fort Sill at the Army base. We decided to go to everyone's like, you got to go to this restaurant called Mears. I don't know if I've told you guys about this. If you're ever in central Oklahoma, go to Mears. If you're black, just be mindful of getting the Mears. That's the problem. So I'm driving, and there used to be this flag that was really used by the white Christian nationalist movement. That's the new KKK, FYI, right? So they tell me to come to this restaurant. All right, cool, I'm gonna go meet you. I drive to the restaurant. It's about 50, 60 miles from Fort Sill. I'm driving and I'm riding and I'm seeing this weird flag at every damn house. And I'm praying that this car doesn't have any issues. I'm in a rental car.
Like an evangelical.
I have no coverage on my phone. I'm alone. And I'm like, Lord, don't let me get a flat tire. I'm glad I got gas. I can't have any issues right now, because if I have to knock on someone's door, they're probably going to shoot me. So once I got there, it was all good. It was like, how was the drive? I was like, dude, I get that you don't always, I don't know if I should say the word appreciate or don't care that I'm black, but sometimes in certain areas, I have to know that. You got to tell me when you have me in the middle of rural Oklahoma, because I might not come home. So, I mean, I got to laugh out of it. We all cracked up. And Yeah, we had drinks off of it. We drank Knob Creek off of it, but it was just really funny. I was like, okay, sometimes you have to remember that. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
But Mark, to that point though, if and this could be a whole different other discussion. So and I may be taking us way off track, but if those types of conversations and hey, Mark, heads up, this is going to happen, or this is what we're walking into, is the unconscious bias going to still be a factor later on down the road. So if we still have to have these conversations about, hey, Mark, we're going to this neighborhood that's not so friendly to Black folks, does that, I don't know, does that hinder us progressing forward to, ending some of this conflict that we're having nationally?
For me, I'd say no.
Go ahead,
I
Mark.
won't speak for Billy. For me, no, because giving me that heads up means that you're my friend.
Exactly.
So real quick, there was a big case in Kansas. I want to say near Liberty, Kansas, which is a real place. There's some little town by Liberty, Kansas. Black guy goes, he's hanging out with his buddies. He goes to a party, he gets drunk, He leaves the party with some other white guys that he doesn't know. He doesn't leave with his friends, but he never gets home. He never makes it home.
See, for me, John, you give me that information, it doesn't hinder anything. It's informing me of what we're walking into.
Yeah.
And as they say, no one's half the battle. You know? Listen, if you come to Miami, there's certain parts of Miami I don't go. But if we had to go somewhere that I thought you might be in a little bit of trouble, we still going. But just know, I'm not gonna let nobody mess with you. You get what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I'm gonna stand toe to toe to anybody, because the way I see it is this: you're my boy. So if somebody has a problem with you,
got a problem
listen, they just bought a big problem with me that they ain't got enough money for.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I like that, Billy, man.
Yeah.
Solid
But
dude.
I will say this: I think we're having a lot of, not to use the term of the month, we're having a lot of whataboutisms, and what I mean by that is that all of us really don't experience this. And the reason why I say this, and I can feel like I feel relatively comfortable saying that, is I grew up playing, sports in high school and college, and then I was in the military and so on and so on. And I had the opportunity to interact with, we all know on the show, I love cocoa butter. I do. I think it's great. I use it every day. All right. And I use it.
I can smell it from here.
And I get it. First of all, it's not a
Yeah,
bad
my
smell.
nose, I can't
It's
get
not.
anything on this
It's not.
whiskey.
No,
All I
it's
smell is
freaking-
cocoa butter off of Jody.
It's freaking awesome.
I just,
smell.
I'm like,
I'm
it
not
smells like
complaining.
cocoa butter. Fuck, Jody's right here. Okay, that's what
I'm
happened.
not complaining. I'm not complaining.
It'd be like this: be nosing a drink. He's like, I smell cocoa and butter.
And a strong hit of
all the
cocoa
butters.
butter.
But anyway, the point I make is I think a lot of what's missing in our society, and I think this does translate to the bourbon communities, because I have noticed, I was out on a bourbon excursion this weekend that I was super pleased to be at, even put myself in a position where I would be uncomfortable because I'm allergic to smoke. I went to a cigar bar that was fantastic. That place is awesome. Next time I'll go, and I am going to go
Is that the
again.
one in Columbia?
Yep, I'm gonna go and sit
Battleground South?
outside on the front porch. But there was a strong population of probably 50-50 white versus black there. And there was conversations going on everywhere about bourbon and cigars and this one black girl's ass. And
Yes.
between a lot of different guys, to include mostly white folks. And so I guess what I'm trying to say with that is that we're not so much different if we just stop, slow down, and have a conversation. Now, could bourbon or whiskey or any spirit be the catalyst for it? Possibly. But I honestly think it really starts from, and this is how we're going to end the show, I really think it starts from within your own heart. Whether you choose to say, hey, you know what? For example, perfect example is here's. If you are looking from my screen, on the left-hand side, I've never met any of those people in person. but I reached out to all three of them personally and invited them to the show. And that would be on my screen, Rob, Billy, and Mark.
Yeah.
And I would consider all three of them super close friends.
Yeah. I do have a question for Rob. Rob, you work in an environment where you have to deal with a lot of different people from a different background. How have you seen differences in culture and experience, things like that? What have you personally experienced?
So, in one of the environments I'm currently in is a heavily African American area of Cleveland, and my staff right now is 80-20 African American. There are some cultural divides in how my staff, white staff, kind of feels, because you can tell some of my white staff has not been around that great of a number. They're not used to being outnumbered, so to speak, whether that's a good way to put it or not.
Gotcha.
So they tend to be a little bit more intimidated at times. And I'm like, guys, this really has nothing. You're all here working together. We've got one goal that we've got to do. And that's to make sure every student who walks through our door is happy with our food and our service. I don't care how it gets there. I don't care if you're white or you're black or our Asian friends who have a couple of Asian kids. I don't care. If they walk out of here smiling, going, "That was the best food I've ever had. That's the best service I've ever had," because Shaniqua, who works over at my entree station, and yeah, Shaniqua, that's her name. Her name is Shaniqua. Sorry. Not stereotyping, her name's Shaniqua. She is
Don't be sorry.
Don't apologize.
Love her.
Don't apologize if it's the truth, dude.
Yeah.
Honestly, come on.
The same as Brenda, who is my cashier when they come in the front door. She's about the whitest woman I know. They do.
Wow, that's classic. I love that.
Classic Rob. Classic Rob. No, yeah.
But it's getting everyone to understand that there's always one common goal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's white, black, pink, purple, yellow, we're here to perform a service of making people happy.
Yep.
Right?
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Got some friends,
and
though.
the same should apply to how we deal with everyone around us.
Life.
Right?
Yeah.
We're in the world to make sure the world is happy. We want the world to be happy. The only way to do this, everything's the same, man. I don't care about color.
Absolutely.
I drink to that, Rob.
Cheers to that. And Rob, I tell you this, listen, you're my favorite chef. Never apologize, brother. Never.
No.
Never. The world is not going to ever apologize to us. So don't apologize.
No, it's not.
No.
All right. Hey, listen, guys, we are at the top of the hour, literally. It's been fun. Always is. I think we had a really good, positive show about stuff that
Can be difficult.
it can be. It is definitely a crucial conversation that had to have, and might be my hashtag for this show. Would be hashtag crucial conversations, because maybe they can pay us to come and do this as part of a class study, because I think it really is something that should be studied. And I'm being serious. I'm absolutely being 100% honest with this and forthcoming. These are exactly what third-year doctorate level leadership classes will teach you, is about having these conversations that are difficult, that you don't want to have. You don't want to say, whatever it might be about Rob's last story, whatever. All right. So, and that's how it goes. But at the end of the day, to circle us back in, we are bourbon lovers, and we put this group together because we want to sit around and have a few drinks with our buddies and our friends and benchmark. Nope. cannot make me.
Hey,
Uh,
hey, Mark, I appreciated that little sample of olive oil you were just showing up there. Yeah, I appreciated that. I enjoyed that last night actually. So thank you, Mark. By the way,
New Rift
You're
is
the man
really
for
good,
real.
but
New Rift.
Yes, it
the
is.
So
Braun burger is 4,000 times better.
Oh yeah. I've switched, and I must
New River's
apologize.
nice
The
stuff.
comment in the comment in the VIP chat, I said it was single barrel rye. It's not. It's bottle and bond rye.
There you
But
So I was slightly wrong, but yeah, that's my other birthday bottle.
go.
Okay.
There you go.
Well, we're going in the live show.
No.
So,
Mhm.
guys, remember to follow us on the Whiskey Rebellion Barcast, and it is on YouTube. We're also on Facebook. We get a lot of views on Facebook. Definitely when Rob decides to share us. And also be good to yourself on YouTube, and then Cafe 305. You can order directly from Cafe 305 bbq.com, and fantastic sauce that we have coming up in the future. We're going to have a whiskey inspired one. We've been talking about it for about 4 or 5 months now, but the FDA had to have some restrictions put on us because we were going to initially name it Bottled and Bond. And then we had to do some different changes to it, but it all is what it is. And guys, I want to say cheers. And Billy, would you say be good to yourself for quick so I can finish off this?
Ladies
Come
and
on.
gentlemen out there, love each other, respect each other. Know that we're all in this together. Be responsible. Don't drink and drive. Let's get through this together. Mel, happy birthday again to you, brother. And be
Thank you,
good to
sir.
yourselves.
Always will.
Birthday, brother.